Wait, did I just manifest the one? Okay, let's back up. I have an amazing story to tell you, and it's all about my favorite topic, which is manifestation. This past year, I literally manifested my dream apartment. I manifested my entrepreneurial journey. I manifested a really thriving Airbnb business. And yes, I manifested my man. But here's what no one really tells you about manifestation. Because honestly, 99% of the people I know manifest the wrong way. And then they become a magnet of negativity and negative experience. And you don't want that. So in this video, I really want to show you 5 steps on how you can manifest anything in your life so that you get a positively unfair advantage. So in today's video, I'll show you how I manifested the one in the craziest way possible and how you can do it too. And what's so funny about the universe is you can literally attract whatever you want, but you don't know how you're going to attract it and you don't know when you're going to attract it. But it's really, really key to have faith and to really believe that there's a higher power, aka the universe, that you're hiring to attract whatever you want. That is literally the trick. And then, let's face it, you also really got to put in the work. There is no way around it. You can't just like sit in front of a fireplace and manifest your dreams and then do nothing. That's just not gonna work. Let's get started with the ugly truth. When you really ask the universe for a higher version of yourself to attract whatever you want in life, it might look like your life is falling apart first to really flush out everything that's no longer needed for you to basically go to a different frequency. And so, for instance, for me personally, I filed for divorce last year in a very unexpected way. It literally broke me. And I have a whole video, if you might be going through a divorce, I have a whole video on how I literally picked myself back up after I filed for divorce and how I regulate my nervous system again and everything. And I will make sure to add the link in the video down below. But I will never forget the Sunday before Thanksgiving when I just realized the only way out of this relationship is a divorce. And I will never forget how I was lying on the floor in my shower, just face down, crying and thinking, why is this happening to me? And then this thought spiral started happening of like, will I ever find someone again? Who's going to take me after a divorce? Will I ever have kids? Like all of these different things. I'm like, am I good enough? Am I good enough to actually attract the partner of my dreams? And let me tell you, like a year ago, I felt like a huge failure. Getting divorced was such a stamp on my resume. And I was just really thinking, oh my God, like I don't know how to really pick myself up from this. Like I didn't see light at the end of the tunnel when I went through it. But thank God I did a lot of personal development before the divorce happened. So when I caught myself saying, why is this happening to me? I immediately switched and I was thinking, okay, why is this happening for me? What is the benefit in this? And then I was thinking, okay, maybe the universe really just wants to elevate me and really thinks that what I want is not what I can get in this relationship, and this is why it's happening. Because what if the partner that I was with back then helped me heal a trauma that then elevated me to then attract my new partner on a different frequency? So what if the divorce was actually a detour to my destiny? That was the right question to ask. So I was like, okay, maybe, even though it's so freaking painful, but maybe the universe is rearranging my world to actually set me up for success. So if you're in a similar situation that I was a year ago, where I was just completely devastated and broken, you know, you've at this point where you really almost give up about finding the one, attracting the dream job, or whatever it is that you really want in your life, I will teach you today 5 steps on how you can literally manifest anything in your life. And it works like magic. Like literally, I've attracted everything I wanted, except for one thing. But We'll get to that. The timing of the universe. I trust it. It's going to be the right time. Okay, so the question is, what are the 5 steps to manifest whatever you want in life? Or maybe to call in the one for you. So first of all, it sounds very simple, but get really crystal clear on what you actually want. And we're going to talk about this more because it's very important to do that. Then second is really sit with that vision until it feels real in your body. Like you got to feel as if it's already happening. And then the third step is you feel gratitude as if it already happened. And then the fourth step is that you ask the universe for some guidance. So whether it's your intuition, leaning into that more, or whether it's like, universe, show me what action steps I should take next. And then number 5, which is my favorite, and that's where a lot of people go wrong, is you do take action, but you let go. You completely let go of what you want because you already have it, right? In your imaginary world, you already have it. So you just let go of it and you trust the timing of the universe. And this is so key because when manifestation doesn't work, it's usually that you don't trust. So really completely trust and feel like it's already happening and just let go of the timing and how it's going to happen. Okay, let's get into the juicy part of this video and let me show you and walk you through how I literally manifested my soulmate. Freaking insane story. So as I mentioned, let's start with step number 1. Get crystal clear on what you want. So when we start attracting partners in our lives, you might have noticed a little bit of a theme, which is we attract usually our childhood ones, aka we attract our mom or our dad, right? So it's subconsciously until you really get into therapy when you're realize, oh wow, this is what happened. And what's really important is every partner is always there to heal something inside of you for you to elevate. If you keep attracting the same partner, it's because you haven't healed that wound yet. So because no one ever told me what is actually important when you find a partner and you want to get married, is it's not just about love, it's not about chemistry, it's about how Lewis Howes would say, a shared vision, shared lifestyle, shared values. Oh my God, so important, right? Does the person expand you or contract you? There's so many talks about green flags, red flags, all of this, but the ultimate green flag is, do you expand each other? So let's talk about once you know that you've been attracting childhood trauma in your life, then there is this space where you're okay, who do I really want to be with? What is important in my life and what's not important? And I will never forget, it was 3 years ago, over the holidays, I got so triggered by my ex, so triggered, that literally we flew back to Austin and he was asleep next to me. And I was just something feels off. I don't know what it is. I'm just going to ask the universe to help me right now. So what I started doing is I took out my phone in the notes folder. And I literally wrote down, I am with the man who is. And I wrote down literally what I want in a partner. I made this whole list and it was 176 things. Kid you not. And what's really interesting too is about the wording. I said, I am with the man who is, which means it's present. It's already happening. It's not I want to be with someone, right? Words matter. Fun fact, I actually wrote all the things I put in my phone in my notebook, which is right here, a yellow notebook, because I reflected back on it. Okay, so I don't know if you can see it. I wrote down so many things. Oh my God. The first thing was, this is literally all the pages. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 pages. Oops. I was crystal clear on what I wanted. Let's put it this way. One thing I wrote here is I'm with a partner who values growth, personal development, freedom, connection, love, integrity, intimacy, communication, and trust. I'm with a partner who challenges me to grow every day. So all of this I literally wrote down. And I wrote it down as if it already happened. And here's now the interesting part. Then I said to the universe, either this is going to be my ex that I was with right now, right? And things change, or it's going to be someone else. And the universe was very clear on it's going to be someone else. But now here's the fun fact. So I wrote it all down 3 years ago. But guess what? I didn't do shit. I didn't visualize it. I just wrote it down. I literally wrote it down and I didn't listen to my intuition. I didn't visualize it every day. I didn't feel it. I just felt lack all the time. Like, oh, it's not there. And like, I was just, not trusting the universe. I was like impatient. And guess what? You will not attract anything if you're coming from that energy ever. Which brings me to step number 2, like feeling it all in your body, like as if it already happened. And so I started doing step 2 in November last year. So when I went through the divorce and like my nervous system was a complete disaster because, with the divorce, all my childhood trauma came back to the surface and boy, I literally lost so much weight. I couldn't sleep. Like I could not. Every day for like at least 3 weeks, I will wake up at 3 a.m. on the dot. Like 3 a.m. It was literally like I grabbed my phone in the morning. I was like, oh, it's 3 a.m. Great. And I would just be awake and I would be constantly just sleep deprived. And during these nights where I couldn't fall back asleep, here's what I did. I put on my headphones and I listened to the song Fix You by Coldplay. And I would literally visualize how I would feel in this relationship. I would feel the energy. I would feel like the activities we would do together. Like I would feel it all. And that brings me to the next step is then I would feel gratitude as if it already happened. So I would literally then listen to the song at 3 a.m. multiple times. Then I would just cry. And I was thinking, whoa, it's already happening. Like I feel it. It's already here. I mean, fun fact, my therapist also said it was a coping mechanism to not cope with the pain in the beginning, which probably she's a little bit right about that. But I kept listening to the song Fix You by Coldplay every single day. And I would always go back and I had this vision of like being in the rain and like, spinning around and then getting kissed and my partner saying, I am madly in love with you, Fabienne Hansen. I don't know why. Like it just came up and up and up. And fun fact, this all turned into reality later on. We'll get there. And what was really funny is that literally I started visualizing and I asked ChatGPT to do the math for me, but literally 180 days later, I attracted him. Literally 180 days later. I just did the work and every day I was feeling his energy. I felt everything. But of course, I went through a lot of pain, right? So I just had to shed a few versions of myself, really, before meeting him. Like I had so many other wounds that I haven't healed yet. So I really focused on healing that. And another thing that's really important too, where I see manifestation going wrong real quick, is you gotta feel as if it's already here and you feel complete and whole. If you always feel that lack energy, you're not going to attract anything in your life because you're separate from it. And I learned this when I went to a Joe Dispenza retreat now twice, like one in February and in July the year before. But you really need to feel the gratitude that it's already happened somewhere in the universe, in a parallel universe. It already happened and now you're attracting it to come to you. And fun fact, the more you can dial into that feeling, if it goes through your whole body, the faster you manifest things. It's insane. Okay, and then step 4 is that we asked for guidance from the universe. And so that's one of the biggest things too, is like I went against my intuition a lot of times throughout the previous years. And especially this year after the divorce, I really started focusing on trusting my intuition. And sometimes, when that inner voice says something, you're like, no, I don't want to do that. That's when you got to do it. For instance, I started picking myself back up in March, April after the divorce. I moved into my new apartment and I started getting into new routines. And then I rolled my ankle and I was so upset. I was like, why is the universe putting me in the back seat again? And I couldn't move. All my friends were somehow in Costa Rica during that time. I had a dog on the 48th floor. Then I had to call someone that I've never talked to before to babysit my dog for a few days because I couldn't move. I was so upset during that time. But that was the time when I created my Hinge and Bumble profile. interesting because that inner voice said, hey, you can't really move. Might as well create an online dating profile. And listen, I have never been on online dating profiles. So I was just like, I mean, maybe for fun, try it out because it's either a good date or a good story. So why not? So even if it makes no sense, trust that intuition. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it in a second. And then step 5 is that you take that action. You really just trust the timing of the universe. And then the other thing too that comes with that is that you really relentlessly fall in love with yourself and date yourself and do whatever feels best for you, because that's the frequency really when you're in alignment and when you then attract opportunities. Okay, so now let me tell you the story of how I met my partner Chase, because it's an insane story. So where did we stop? I created my dating profiles on Bumble and Hinge, but I really like good user design and Hinge was kind of nicer. So I was like, well, okay, I'm just gonna be on Hinge. But I didn't really set up any dates. I felt still kind of weird. Then in April, it was my birthday. I was like, you know what? Why don't I have a vision board party with my girlfriends? And so I invited a bunch of girlfriends and we created vision boards. And I brought this up last time, but I created my vision board. And funny enough is I was like, oh, I'm just going to write down what I want in a partner, where we want to travel, like that I will be pregnant one day and like all of the different things. So I literally just like wrote this all down and let go of it. I was like, I want to focus on building my life right now. I already have a list of 170 things that I know I want from a partner. Again, I'm German, very specific, but now it's up to the universe. So fun fact though is in April was when I was open again to dating, open to really a different frequency because I healed so much. I processed so many of my emotions and I really fell in love with myself. And from that place, I declared I'm going to call him my soulmate. I don't know how it's going to be, when it's going to be, but I will do it. And fun fact is literally the week after my birthday is when my boyfriend Chase broke up with his ex. Crazy. Talk about timing of the universe. So then we're in May and I did a very German efficient thing. I was like on a walk and I had this voice telling me like, Fabi, it's time. Just start ripping off the Band-Aid and get some dates in. And so I did a very German thing. I literally scheduled 4 dates in 1 week to just rip off the Band-Aid. And I will never forget, it was a Sunday and I had 4 dates that are all scheduled on through Hinge for the following week. And I was walking my dog, Rue, my golden retriever, and I was on the phone with one of my friends from Germany. And she was like, Fabi, why are you going to start dating if you don't really want to date? And I was like, you're right. Maybe I should just focus on myself. But also, like, I already scheduled it and I have a people-pleasing tendency. So I was like, it's kind of mean if I just cancel the dates. So let me just date next week and go all out and then just focus on myself. And fun fact, while I was walking, someone started screaming. And I was like, well, what are they talking about? And there was this huge snake, like literally slithering across the trail. And it was like, one of the biggest snakes I've ever seen. I will make a video all about snakes, but I am terrified of snakes. Terrified. In the past year, every time something big was about to shift in my life, I saw snakes. Like literally even a month before I filed for divorce, there was a snake right in front of our home where my ex and I used to drink coffee. Wild. Anyhow, then I went home and a friend of mine, Heather, she was like, oh, tonight is Chris Lee's birthday party at 8:30 p.m. And Chris Lee has been like an amazing mentor and coach for me. And I was like, 8:30 on a Sunday? Ugh. That's like past my bedtime. I really don't want to go. But then this inner voice said, go. And I was like, okay, I'm going to learn how to trust my intuition. And it's uncomfortable. I don't want to go, but I decided to go. And so then I met my former coach, Jeremy, at that birthday party. And I was telling him about the divorce. He told me that he got divorced after 10 years of marriage. And then that he met his now soulmate through Hinge. And he was like, Fabi, fun fact, I was on Bumble the whole time. And then I switched to Hinge. And then I met her. She was my first Hinge date. And it's like, interesting. I've only been on Hinge. I haven't really been on Bumble, even though I have a profile there. So, get this. Fast forward on Wednesday, I remember him saying, oh, I should check out Bumble. So I went on Bumble, and I was convinced that they were the same guys on Hinge and Bumble, but that's clearly not the case. So I went on Bumble, and I kid you not, I swipe left and I swipe right, and I match. And I'll never forget, with Bumble, like, you have to be proactive. So the question that came up was, what was something that made you smile today? Is what Chase asked. And I was like, I really don't want to answer, but I mean, it's something positive. Why not? So I answered the question. Then we started texting. And on his pictures, I was like, he looks a little bit sad. I think he had a lot of trauma and he had a lot of trauma that he processed. But that was also something that really attracted me to him because I wanted someone who put in the work. And I mean, oh my God, he put in the work like no one else I've ever met. But that's a whole different story. But then he was asking me if we want to meet on Tuesday. And so remember, I was like, I'm going to be done with dating on Sunday. So I wrote him back and I was literally like, hey, it's either going to be Friday at 7:30 a.m. at the dog park, or it's not going to happen. And this was also a fun thing. Like, I was very German about this because I was like, I'm going to be at the dog park anyways. So either I'm going to be on a date or not. So then fast forward, and I've already had a few dates, and I was like, no, kind of wasting my time here. Like, all nice guys, but it was like nothing really, where I was like blown away from and just didn't feel right. And so I will never forget. It was a Friday, 7:30 a.m. at the dog park. I see someone walking toward me and with a dog and saying, hi. And I was like, hi. And we started talking. And I was like, he doesn't look at all like his pictures. And also, the dog doesn't really look like the pictures. And so we talked. And then, so funny, I saw Chase literally like walking toward me from the background. I was like, oh gosh, I'm talking to the wrong guy. So then I was literally like, are you Chase? And he's like, no. And then it clicked for him and he's like, wait, are you on a date at 7:30 a.m. on a Friday? And I was like, I am. So then he walks away and Chase approaches me. I can't even describe it, but I mean, I can't describe it. But literally, I felt energy like through my whole body. Like the energy I was literally manifesting for so long, I felt it in my whole body. It was insane. And so now get this. As I mentioned, I like literally meditated every day, and I did Joe Dispenza meditations too, where I visualized. So in that Joe Dispenza meditation at the end, it always asks you, send out a sign to the universe the universe then will bring back to you to say, hey, you're on the right track. So for me, it was always an infinity sign. So I would always send out infinity signs to the universe. And I would see them, randomly. Like people had tattoos with an infinity sign, and like stuff like that. So crazy. But then get this. After I met Chase, I was like calling my best friend. I was like, oh my God. This is insane, but like I literally felt the same energy that I felt in my meditations. And like, I feel like I'm crazy because I've never ever had this before. And it was just so easy to communicate with him and we laughed so much. And it was just, a really fun first date with the dogs. So then on Saturday morning, I got out my tarot cards and I asked the cards, what should I focus on? And I drew a card and it was the card number 8, strength. And on that card, first of all, there's an infinity sign. Surprise. But then, get this, and I did not know this until later. There's a line on it with mountains in the background. And there's something like a woman looks kind of like, a Virgo. But I didn't really think too much about it. I was like, oh, strength. Okay, I'll just lean into my strength. No. It turns out that Chase literally has a huge lion and mountain tattooed on his arm. It was like his spirit animal in a meditation when he started finding his faith. And then he's also a Virgo and his favorite number is 8. You can't make that up. That is freaking insane. And what's even more insane too, and I will tell you the story later, is but like I literally found that necklace later on of a tarot card, of that specific tarot card, in a shop in Carmel by the Sea when I was there with him. So it's insane. You can't make this up. So I want to take a second. If you believe in the invisible string theory, you will after this. Because here are all these crazy things, right? Like I drew that card and like literally matched his tattoo and his favorite number. And my sign was the infinity sign. Crazy. Then also later on, fun fact, we went on to a Ben Boone concert. He does this thing where he basically plays a random song and just covers it. And of course, it was Coldplay. But also, when I created my vision board, he broke up with his ex. And also, get this is crazy. He went on Bumble to actually delete his subscription. Like the day we matched, which is wild to me. But of course, it gets even wilder. So 12 years earlier, we actually lived in the same neighborhood in New York. Like we literally were 3 blocks away from each other. And we also went to the same bar called Fat Cat, which is just insane. How many bars are there in New York? And that we were hanging out at the same bar at the same time. It's just crazy. Sometimes I think Apple could make millions of dollars proving the invisible string theory if you could just like put in your phone number and the phone number of your partner and then just see if you like, have locations that match up. I mean, if someone from Apple watches this, $1 million idea. So anyhow, this is kind of like the story, but what I really want to hone in on is I focused on loving myself, and so did Chase. And we actually didn't need each other. We like knew what we wanted, right? And that's also the whole infinity sign, why I always send the infinity sign to the universe, is because I wanted a partner who's whole on its own, and I want to be whole on my own, but we're infinitely better together. So what was so cool about this is like we literally just trusted that at some point it will come. So looking back, going through all that pain from my divorce was actually not a failure. The divorce was a detour to my destiny. That's a really good statement, by the way. I just came up with that. Anyhow, all of it was just a redirection. So if you feel like life's just like challenging you right now, think about it that way. It's literally flushing out everything that you no longer need in order to increase your frequency to attract new opportunities in your life. Because everything in life is energy. It was like literally the universe was saying to me, hey, Fabi, remember when you wrote the 176 things on your list? Which, fun fact, Chase is literally 174 of them. Just 2 are missing. And he's working on them. So I think the 2 will be checked as well. But I mean, how freaking crazy is that? But what's so funny is like I asked for more and like literally the universe just removed everything else that was no longer serving me. So when things go wrong in your life, they're not endings, they're literally beginnings. And the fun fact is, the better you get at these 5 steps, the faster you will manifest. Because remember, I wrote my list down 3 years ago, but I didn't do anything. So it was really slow until the universe was kind of like, pushing me in the right direction. Now I know how to really manifest anything in my life. So it's very, very fast for me now because I can feel it so quickly and then I let go of it. And I know like, oh, the universe is working on it for me. I have no idea how it's going to happen, how many detours I will have, but it will happen. I just don't know when. And that is the trust. And manifestation only works when you're trusting the universe, but more importantly, when you trust yourself. And while you're waiting, you literally just put all your efforts into aligning with what's right for you and really just falling in love with yourself. Because the more self-worth you have, the different kind of caliber of a man you will attract in your life. Okay, now the question is, should I bring Chase on for a YouTube video? I mean, would that be helpful? Because I really think this has been the healthiest relationship I've ever been in. And I want to really inspire other couples to see what's possible. Because we have some tools on how we deal with things when we get triggered, and we have like weekly check-ins, and we could walk you through what we ask ourselves to make sure that we're going in the right direction in our relationship. I mean, there are so many cool things that we do, and I thought it would be maybe nice to talk about it. But let me know if you're interested in it. Most importantly, one of the things I really want to hone in on is you are the creator of your life. Whatever you attract in your life is basically a copy of your thoughts. So if you've been thinking a lot of negative thoughts, and you're thinking of lack, you will attract more lack. If you've been wanting something a lot more, you attract more wanting. But if you already feel whole and grateful and you really feel it in your body, you just attract so easily. It's insane. Insane. You're literally writing the script of your life every single day. So really make sure that you program your brain to benefit from manifestation. Because at the end of the day, the question you get to ask yourself is, are you creating a life by design or by default? So with that, I'll leave you up to it. If you want to know more about my biggest life updates, definitely make sure to check out this video next.